The floorboards in my old New Hampshire house held memories, not just of the people who came before me, but of me. They remembered my steps, my pace, my weight. The problem was, they remembered them even when I was perfectly still. It started subtly, a faint creak from the hallway when I was tucked in bed, trying to sleep. The first night it was just a few steps, hesitant, like someone was testing the wood. I dismissed it as the house settling, the wind, anything plausible. My rational mind was working overtime to find an explanation, because the alternative was too terrifying to consider. The second night, the sound was clearer, the steps more confident. They started at the far end of the hall, near the guest bedroom, and moved a little closer to my door before stopping. My heart hammered against my ribs. I lay there, frozen, straining my ears in the suffocating silence that followed. There was no one else in the house. I lived alone. I had checked every lock twice before bed, a habit I'd had for years. This wasn't a break-in, this was something else entirely, something that didn't need a key. By the third night, dread had become a permanent resident in my gut. I sat propped up against my pillows, a heavy lamp on my bedside table, my phone clutched in a sweaty palm. I was ready to dial 911 at the slightest provocation. The stepping began right on schedule, just after midnight, but this time, it was different. It wasn't just random footsteps. The rhythm, the weight, the slight drag of the left foot hit was my walk. The house was playing back a recording of me, a ghostly echo of my own movements. The steps paced the length of the hall, back and forth, a perfect imitation of how I paced when I was anxious. It was my anxiety, manifested in sound, haunting me from the other side of the door. The mimicry was so perfect, so unnerving, it felt like a personal violation. It felt like I was being studied. I couldn't take it anymore. The next morning, running on sheer adrenaline and no sleep, I called the police. I tried to sound calm, rational, as I explained the situation. A kind but skeptical officer came by. He walked the perimeter, checked the windows, the doors, the dusty attic, the damp basement. He found nothing. No signs of forced entry, no footprints in the soft soil outside, no one hiding in the closets. He suggested it could be pipes, or animals in the walls, or my imagination running wild from the stress of living alone in an old house. I thanked him, trying to hide the frustration and fear that was making me tremble. I knew he was wrong. This wasn't pipes. Pipes don't learn your gait. That night, the fourth night, was the night everything changed. The fear was so thick in the air I could taste it, metallic and sharp. I didn't even try to sleep. I sat in a chair in my living room, facing the hallway, every light in the house blazing. I needed to see, I needed to confront whatever this was. The clock ticked past midnight. Silence, 1 o'clock. Nothing. A sliver of hope, fragile and thin, began to grow. Maybe it was over. Maybe my calling the police had scared it away. How foolish I was. Then it started. Not from the end of the hall, but from right outside my bedroom door, just 20 feet away. My steps. My walk, slow, deliberate, heavy. Each creak of the floorboards was a hammer blow to my sanity. It was moving down the hall, away from my bedroom and towards the living room, towards me. The sound grew louder, closer, until it was just outside the archway. The floorboards right on the other side of the wall groaned under a familiar weight. My breath hitched. My eyes were glued to the empty space where the sound was coming from. I could practically feel the air shift, feel the presence of something standing there, watching me. The steps slowed. One more, and then another, and then they stopped. They stopped directly behind my chair. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't hear anything. But I knew with a certainty that defied all logic that it was there. Standing right behind me. A cold draft snaked its way down my spine, a chilling caress in the warm, brightly lit room. I was paralyzed, trapped in my own home by the ghost of my own footsteps. The house didn't just remember my steps. It had learned them, perfected them, and brought them to life to stand in judgment behind me. I still don't know what it wanted. I just know that I haven't been still since I had to leave. There was no other choice. I packed a bag in a frantic daze, my hands shaking so badly I could barely zip it shut. I didn't look back. I didn't dare. I just ran out the front door and drove until the sun came up, leaving the house and its spectral memories behind. I stayed with a friend for a week, trying to explain what had happened, but the words felt hollow and insane even to my own ears. How do you tell someone you are haunted by the sound of your own walk? Eventually, I found a new place to live. A modern apartment on the 3rd floor of a concrete building. There are no creaky floorboards here. There is only the muffled sound of the city and the neighbors I never see. It's sterile, impersonal, and I love it. It's safe. But sometimes, in the dead of night, when the city quiets down to a low hum, I think I can still hear it. A faint, familiar creak. Not from my apartment, but from somewhere deep inside my memory. A ghost that followed me out of the house. It's a chilling thought, isn't it? That some places hold on to more than just history. They hold on to pieces of us, twisting them into something unrecognizable. That house in New Hampshire held on to my movements, my anxieties, my very presence, and created a phantom from them. It makes you wonder what you're leaving behind in the places you inhabit. What echoes of yourself will linger long after you're gone? Will they be peaceful, or will they learn to walk on their own? Thank you for listening to my story. If you enjoy tales of the strange and unexplained, make sure to subscribe for more. Stay safe, and maybe tread a little lighter. You never know what's listening.